Yo, what up with everybody, man? Straight up, man. We getting right up into it, man. So make sure y'all hit the like, share, subscribe button, man. As y'all can see, I got the transfer portal pulled up on the screen here. And that's because, I feel a sense of integrity and a sense of duty to inform the people instead of letting y'all be misinformed on the transfer portal. I told y'all in both transfer portal videos I made about the Buffs that the transfer portal, it affects all teams, right? In the way that the NCAA has this transfer portal set is not right for the players or the coaches, not right for both of them the way that they have it and where they have the transfer portal set at, correct? It makes it difficult for players to be able to acclimate into their new systems, their new coaches, and so forth and so on. And it makes it, and vice versa with the coaches. It makes it hard for the coaches to acclimate to their team, their weaknesses, the players, the talent that comes in, and everything else like that, right? And a lot of movement goes on, but however, this is just one transfer portal this year, which is good, and that's a plus. So we kind of happy about that, right? Because there's only that one transfer portal. But the Colorado Buffaloes, they need a lot going on. They need some coaching. We know that there was a missing coaching and development there. We know that because we watched them, and we really have not seen any of the players get better. Plus, you lost a lot of your top talent throughout the time. Now, you can say it's about money, you can say it's about whatever, but there has been players that came out and spoke about the training going on at Colorado, the lack of thereof at Colorado. We've seen these things, these players come out and speak, and at some point, you know what I'm saying, if there's enough smoke around, there got to be a fire somewhere, right? You see smoke, there got to be fire, and that's just the kind of situation is here. But I'm not here, either here to give y'all a negative connotation to Colorado and then start bringing out misinformation, or to go way above and positive and start leading into misinformation. Because I believe if you're too high, that's when you start leading into that misinformation. I believe, and if you get too low with low blows, you start throwing misinformation around, right? And so you just got to be honest with the tape, and have things to back it, right? And most of it's opinions, right? But you also speak factual too. Whether I got it pulled up there or not, go ahead and if you really know, you would look at it and you would see that. But I see some people out here tell people, oh well, there's a lot of players that jump in the transfer portal. From a school like I think it was like somebody had sent me a video. It said somebody that was said, yeah, they was talking about, I had a conversation actually. They said they watched the video and we had a conversation, and they said, well, yeah, he was talking about guys that left Iowa State and compared it to the roster that's leaving Colorado. Well, yeah, we know Iowa State. He like, for those who don't know, Iowa State's head coach Matt Campbell just transferred to Penn State. He's going to take a lot of those players are going to go with him. That's the culture that he built. That's the puppies he raised in the dogs, and they understand his system. They understand his ethics. They understand a lot of things. Yes, there's a culture at Penn State, but right now there needs to be a that culture at Penn State needs to be reevaluated, and it needs to be reestablished, right, at Penn State. So that's what's going on at Penn State right now. So that's why you bring in a guy like Matt Campbell, because obviously they like the culture that he built over at Iowa State University, and that's what's going on there. So we'll take the Iowa State and we'll look at it, because there was a lot of guys who jumped in the transfer portal from over there, right? Just recently, they got a lot of transfers and a lot of transfers going out, lots of them, right? They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 20. They got a lot of players, 24. And I'm 25, 20. They got like 26 players. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that jumped in the portal from over there at Iowa State. You know what I'm saying? And that's they probably got like 21 just in a month of December. But we do know that they coach just left to move on to Penn State. So that was gonna happen, right? You know what I'm saying? Matt Campbell, so now, you know what I'm saying, I give y'all the exact date that Matt Campbell, well, we know Matt Campbell just got there. So we know, I don't think I have to go into the date. They didn't make the playoffs or anything, but he took the job at Penn State. I hope I don't have to go into the date where he got hired at Penn State. We just need to know, and we need to inform people upon why is there so many people leaving out of Iowa State? Well, their head coaches moved on. So a lot of them guys are going to follow over. A lot of that depth, or a lot of those guys are going to be able to fight position over at Penn State now, and you'll get a mix of guys that stayed at Penn State, some guys that didn't leave Penn State, and some guys that's going to fight around. Now, Kansas State, if I'm not mistaken, Kansas State head coach, I think he left, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't he move on? I think it said something about Kansas State too, and I think he moved on, if I'm not mistaken. He retired. He's done. So yeah, when your head coach leaves and you're not sure of your coach being around, and that's one of the transfer portal rules. They actually can leave at any time. Anytime a coach leaves a football team, it doesn't have to be right now in the transfer portal. Let's say it was right before the season started in May, and a coach decides to make a leave or a change, then players then have the choice to jump into the portal and go to a team because their coach left. But they're going to probably do that when they retire. So Kansas State, yeah, they probably got a lot of people in the portal right now because of their head coach leaving, right? So that's gonna happen. That you're gonna see that, right? You're going to see that. You're going to see a lot of those guys from Kansas State, just like you see on the screen right now, and that left out. You know what I'm saying? Because their coach is no longer there. He's gone. He's out of there. Right. So that's why. So if anybody out there telling you, well, Kansas State got a lot of people, well, their coach is gone, right? Colorado's coach ain't gone. Coach Prime is there. He's going into his 4th year. Well, you know what I mean? He's going into his 4th year and he's losing this many kind of players. He's losing this many players and puppies that he brought in. How many of his puppies that he actually brought in do he got left? I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm genuinely asking this question. So if you know that question, give it to me down in the comments. Like, I'm trying to think right now because I got a lot going on. I'm trying to, talk and give y'all the information here, show y'all that information on here. So like, I got a lot going on right now. So I'm like genuinely asking that question. Like, what's up? Like, how many puppies that he brought in do he have there? Jordan Seaton. Is he the last? I don't know. Stoudemire, I think Stoudemire, he's still there. And Seaton still, Jordan Seaton still there. But he's lost a lot of those guys, man. And I wouldn't even say they lost. They just probably just trying to renegotiate deals. You know what I'm saying? You can't really say they gone because, just because you're in the portal, that means you're just trying to renegotiate your deal. You know what I mean? You just trying to get your bread right. That's all that means. I don't necessarily mean you leaving. So I think another one was West Virginia. So I want to take a look at West Virginia also. So I'm gonna take a look at West Virginia, and we can see what West Virginia Mountaineers is. Now, mind you, Rich Rod just got there just last year. Rich Rod just got there. He just got there. So players that did not perform for Rich Rod last year that he got to see, a lot of those players are probably going to be out the door. He's seen their work ethic. He ain't having that. Rich Rod, if you know Rich Rod, he probably ain't having a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? But believe you me, if he was in his 4th year right now at Wisconsin and he's losing that many players to the portal, that'd be a problem. But I want to take a look at West Virginia and see what they got going on. As far as impact players or whatever, I don't know who the Wayne Galloway was. I'm sorry to say that. Don't know who that guy was. Did he start? See, that's why I ain't going through that. The punter, no stars. Running back, no star. Cash, no, I don't know. Clay Ash, Jason Beiser, they are all no star guys. Hope they end up somewhere. For real. William Davis, a safety. 5'10", 194 pounds. Offensive lineman, Cooper Young. I can't remember if I saw him on the field or not. It's the Young. It might be another guy. I might be thinking about right now or something. But Robbie Martin, interior linebacker. It's a lot of guys that left West Virginia. The exact number, don't know. But there's a lot of guys since December that has jumped into the portal from West Virginia. But Rich Rod is in rebuild mode. That's expected in your 2nd year, right? That's expected to happen, right? You gotta clean house. I gotta get right. I gotta get this thing right. So let's go to another Big 12 school. I just want to do Big 12 school just because I don't want to make it seem like I'm picking on anybody, but I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page here, that we understand this something. Houston. Willie Fritz has been at Houston, I think. Is it going on his third or fourth year? Regardless, it's this year's time to put up. I think last year was his second season at Houston, and Houston finished to being one of the top teams in the Big 12. So I think it's going on to his third season. So let's put up or shut up time for Willie Fritz. You want to see Willie Fritz's team almost at his best. A lot of the talent that he developed, that he got there, a lot of those freshmen that he got there, and the guys that he's been developing, you want to see them on the field this year and making impact plays and being impact players. But let's see how many they got going on. I don't know the exact number we're gonna count, but so they got 2 guys in there. He been there for about 3 years. He, you know what I'm saying, about a little bit less than Coach Pratt been at Colorado. And he got 2 players in the portal. So I mean, so you got to really be looking around at rosters to know these teams that got guys leaving, and there is a reason why guys do leave, right? Like, let's look at Virginia Tech in the ACC, for instance. There's probably a lot of movement in the portal because James Franklin just got there. Their old head coach left. You know what I'm saying? He left. He's out of there. Brent Pryce, he's out of there, right? James Franklin is now the new head coach of the Virginia Tech. So you're expecting to see a lot of players in the portal, right? Doing this coaching change. And actually, you don't even see that going on. And their head coach left. And West Virginia had a bad year. Virginia Tech had a bad year. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players. So, wow. Probably going to probably going to pick through those guys. Probably going to pick through those guys before you just start releasing guys and seeing the guys that did make plays or whatever, and try to keep a lot of guys there. That's surprising. Normally that happens. That's surprising. But you getting a guy like James Franklin, that's probably going to get you 8, you know what I'm saying, at least 8 wins a year. Yeah, you probably want to stay around knowing what that coach can do for you. But I want to look at a coach that's been around for 4 years, that I know that's been in for 4 years. Northwestern's coach, David Braun. I know he came, his going on his 4th year at Northwestern, and they weren't good. They weren't that good, right? You know what I'm saying? They weren't that good. And he got 1 player in the portal. Actually, he came to the team. So all I'm saying is you ain't like when you've been around for 4 years in this coaching thing, when you've been around for 4 years, players are going to go into the portal. But when you've been at your team for 4 years and you have that many players going into the portal, there's some underlying problems going on. Is he trying to fix it? Yes. That's why there's a lot of coaching movement going on, because he's trying to fix it. So where do we start at? What do we say to that? Where we lead is that where we go and where we supposed to lead in and say, you know what I mean? He's making these changes. He's making these changes. There's been a lot of problems going on, but he's making those changes. We actually see that. Now, if it don't work this time, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But what do we expect out of a team who is now having to really take the chance and replace a lot of the talent that went out the door with portal talent? What are we expecting? You're going to expect. You're going to your expectations. You can set them high. If you're thinking 8 games, you're absolutely. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen in eight games. I don't know. That's a little high for me. For me, realistic expectations and expectations to say that he has a good season. A lot of coaches will understand this. A lot of people who understand football will understand this, and that respect the game will most definitely would say 6 games getting out of that team next year, this upcoming season, 2026 season, would be improvement. It would be an improvement. That's what you want to see. Let's at least get to a bowl game. Now, if we go beyond a bowl game, that's great, but at least let's get back there and let's get these players progressed. Let's get these players developed. Let's get these coaches and leaders in the right positions, and let's see where we can build off of that. Let's see then, because you don't want to sit here and have low expectations and just say they're going to have another 3 game winning season. No, We don't want to go that low and say that. No, because we want there to be success there, right? So, you know what I'm saying? And that would be an improvement. You can't repeat another 3-9 season. That can't happen. You know what I mean? That can't happen. You at least got to win at least more than what you did this year, right? Because that shows progression, right? That shows changes, and I think it can happen in the Big 12. The problem is in the Big 12 is that there's some great coaching in the Big 12, and the Big 12 is going to get better as much as Colorado is going to get better. You know what I mean? The Juju Lewis, the 5-star quarterback that's at Colorado, he's going to be faced with a lot of different challenges that he wasn't faced with this year. He's going to have to lead the team. The pressure's on. 5-star guy, bright lights, one of the best quarterback in the nation. You expect him to be able to, to gravitate towards that and not let that be a distraction to him and go out there and perform at a high level. That's what we're expecting out of him, right? But to expect him to go above and beyond in his first actually, year of playing the quarterback position, no, he's got to go through his bumps and bruises. He has to learn a lot, and the competition is going to get is crazy, because not if you get a chance to play against one of the best football players who ever played, and he's coaching the team. Some people want to go against that. Now everybody wants to join that. Some people say, I want to be able to play against that. I know we're gonna get to shine, and that's what it is. So we got to keep that in mind too, y'all. Like and not mislead people out here, man. Y'all crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I've seen a lot of crazy fan bases. I've seen a lot of crazy fan bases since I've been out here. But I have not, and I hate that, and I'm just being honest, I have not seen a fan base, and I'm keeping it real, because I know the real true Colorado fans who look at people like they just come over here with Deion. I know they be like, man, these the lowest IQ football fans I have ever seen in my life. Like, and look, I'm telling you, and that's something to say, but I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. Like, I can guarantee you, it's sad to say, but I know kids that play that's in high school. My 9-year-old know football better, and I hate to say that, but it's the truth. But it also goes along on what they're what they're consuming. A lot of what they're consuming, a lot of what they're watching, and they're not hearing the real. In football is not a sport where you can be positive all you want to, but you have to be real in it. And if people can allow you to be real, then you don't need to be around that person, because that person is holding you back, right? If I don't know, if any coach came up to me right now and said, you can report on the team all you want to, but if your takes is this and that, I'm not going to dumb myself down or not speak the truth about or be honest about how I feel and how I see things. If I can't do that, I can't rock with you, because I'm not genuine. You know what I'm saying? And it's all about the paper. It's all about the money. And if you want to, if you want to, compromise yourself for some money, you'll do anything for some money. And that's a person that I can't trust. That's a person I can't trust, man. I can't trust a person who's willing to do anything for some money. I just can't, because it's crazy. That's crazy. You know what I mean? How could you even trust the people around you? How could you trust yourself? A lot of people play dumb with that. A lot of people are thinking things and they want to say things, but they don't say them, because you're caught up into the media thing. You're caught up into that whole media thing and feeding people what they want to hear instead of what they need to know. It's not what all the time on what they want to hear. You can't just keep feeding people that. We have a job to do, and if we keep falling back into the trap and keep getting trapped into that, sooner or later, this independent journalist thing that we do, independent content creator, journalist, however you look at yourself, right? It's going to be compromised. This is something that was started from us, and that should continue to go on, and regardless of people going, there's always going to be disgruntled pro athletes that get mad because we might come with a take where we're cooking and they may not want to hear it or whatever. But one thing they go and respect is the fact that they know that I'm well researched, that I'm going to be honest, that if I don't know something, that they can count on me to say I don't know, but I'm willing to learn that. And I'm learning things out here. So you got to be honest. You know what I'm saying? That the fakery only gonna last for so long. The truth is always gonna be the truth. Y'all seen me grow. Y'all seen me grow. Y'all seen me at my worst. Y'all seen me not be so good with takes. And then y'all seen me progress. And then y'all see me, you know what I mean, get back down to a spot. Y'all see where I'm at with it, right? And it's just real. But you don't want to be fake, man. You don't want to be that. Now do I want to be and I'll keep saying this because do I want to see Colorado be successful? That's a question that was asked to me. Absolutely. I absolutely want to see Colorado be successful. I most definitely do. So with that being said, I think I've harped enough on improving the point that it's, you know what I'm saying, there's some things that's going on. Do I know what's going on? No. But can I see some of the things that's going on? Yes. Yes, I can. Yes, I can see the lack of development. Yes, I can see the lack of coaching. Yes, I can see that going on 100%. 100% I can see that going on. I don't need anybody to confirm that because I know that that problem is going on. Right? Now, what do I do now? Now I'm going to say, but there has been players that have come into Colorado. And these players, we just don't know who we're going to get out of these players because you get them from the portal and you got them from a lower level. What do you expect out of these players when you're getting them from G5, Sacramento State, Incarnate Word, Illinois State, North Dakota State, so forth, FCS, wherever, G5, it could be even G5, Memphis, Army, Navy, USF. What do you expect out of players like that? Trekking. I'm gonna tell y'all what to expect out of players from that level. Expect a player that's gonna have grit, that's going to work, have a high work ethic, that's going to be willing to be developed, that's hopefully not stuck in their ways. Somebody that you can mold into what you need to do for your offense or defensive scheme in that way, right? But you know, just because they were successful where they were at doesn't automatically mean they're going to be successful in the Big 12, right? We could only hope that they are. With that, the coaching is on point at Colorado. We can only hope for that, right? And sit there and say that because we can look at their stats from last season and say, yes, that player is going to be a dog. I could tell you that what they did last season far statistically, but I don't know what they're going to do on the field and if they're going to be used correctly scheme wise. Because to be honest, I don't know what's going on with Robert Livingston. I've seen players like Martavius French go be at the University of Texas San Antonio, UTSA, and be successful. But then I also seen him come into the Colorado Buffalo system and under Rob Livingston on that defensive scheme that he runs. And I don't even know what coverage he's running sometimes. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to identify. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it seems to be confusing the DBs. And I've seen Martavius French, you know, go downhill. You know, his fitting look different. His tackling not be up to par. I think you just got to get back to the basics of football and what's that? I think that Colorado just get back to just the fundamentals. Work on the QB Juju's feet work. Stay on his feet work. It seems he seems to have that down, but that also help him with a little bit more pocket presence. Start with the footwork. Get his release right. And let's build from there. Jordan Seaton, we got to get his footwork right because it seems that he gets caught sometimes when his guys on the wide nine. I don't know everything. I just know some things. You know what I'm saying? I'm not claiming to know everything. I just know a little bit about this jargon and enough to give what I know and explain it that way. You know what I mean? So if you hear me say something, correct me. I ain't got no problem with that. But the players that's in the wide nine, it seems that he struggles with that with his footwork. He's not that kick that first kick step he seems to catch, but that second and third they're short and choppy or something. You know what I mean? Seems to be, and it's hard to do that. It's not easy, but get some more work with that, right? I think his run blocking is there. I think you got to do it enough. He has to get enough of those reps. We got to let those guys eat. There's no point in having a Jordan Seaton on a team that's so athletic and so strong, and to keep him bottled up pass blocking 30 to 40 times a game. That should not happen. You know what I mean? He's not meant for that. You gotta go let them eat. Let them guys set the tone. Let them guys let the defensive line know. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the times in the game, like, yeah, I'm coming. You know what I'm saying? We here. You know what I'm saying? Let them get theirs. You know what I'm saying? Let them eat. I think that needs to happen. And the run game, and that's where you hear a lot of the professionals and a lot of guys that you see watch film, they say, let the offensive line eat. That's their get back. You know what I mean? When you're in pass block, you have to take on a lot of the blunt force. You know what I'm saying? You just got to keep your man in front of you. You know what I mean? Pretty much try to keep him in front of you and not get on the side or behind you, because that's when you lost. And that's hard to do, because you don't know which way he going. You know what I mean? You could only guess, and you only could go with him. Have to identify that. Now comes with all footwork, right? And that's just some of the things that you really don't know what you're going to get out of guys, but you got to have somebody there just working on the fundamental things, and tackling is a key. Tackling is a key. We heard professionals go there and actually say out their mouth, what kind of tackling are y'all doing? We've seen them say that. We've seen them say that. Like, believe it or not, like, and come on, do I have to call an ad read out? I ain't got to call ad read out. We seen ad read do that on film. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's a big thing though. Tackling is huge, and believe me, it's just not Colorado who needs to work on tackling in the NCAA. Their school, I talk about it all the time. There is so many colleges and so many universities that are not just working on the fundamentals. When you want to watch a fundamental football team go to work, look at Kirk Cignetti in Indiana. I talk about them so much because they really are a class of what really is supposed to be done. Watch how they play football. Just really watch that team. They do all, when you do all the little things right, your skill will take you to another level. You have to lock down the fundamentals first, because you can be as fast and as athletic as everything. But what made Deion Sanders on the football field, in my opinion, was because he was so fast, right? But he had fundamentals, though. He had a lot of that too. Everything was always in order. It's order. And what order brings consistency. And that's what he preaches. But you gotta, not only do you gotta preach, but you gotta, he hopes. Only thing he could do as a head coach really is just hope that his position coaches is teaching that. Right? You know what I'm saying? But that's why we put the blunt on him, and that's why he takes the blunt of that blame too. Because you got it to, like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? You just can't talk about it. You got to make sure these guys is doing it, because then it's just reps. You got to get reps. Callus. People talk about callus. You know, that's simple, fundamental. Practicing with equipment on all week long and hitting all week long. Once you get in a game, you're going to perfect that. Hitting, you're going to get used to that. Your shoulders is going to get stronger in certain areas. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what callus is, and if you don't, like, the way I can explain it is if you keep letting not the most venomous, but enough venom go into your system, you keep taking venom and keep taking it. If a snake bites you, you'll be immune to venom. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that is. You keep hitting, you keep hitting, you keep hitting. Pretty soon, you'll be so immune to hitting, like, it's just second nature. It's just second nature to tackle. You know what I mean? You keep blocking a certain way. You keep doing it. You keep doing it this way, and it sometimes things can develop in bad habits, and a lot of bad habits were developed, and you can see that. You know what I mean? It doesn't take a rocket science just to see the bad habits that were developed on the football field with teams, and it's just not them. Believe you me, I called out the schools, man. Called out, and it's not even all the schools, like the players. That's a fine line that people are willing not to tote too, because sometimes players, they gotta accept that. You gotta accept that, especially from somebody like me. I'm going to be honest with it. If I see it on the field, I gotta talk about it. I talked about Bear Alexander taking plays off. We talked about there's another guy too. I can't remember. Good guy too. South Carolina's defensive and edge rusher. He takes plays off. You can't rush like that. You can't play the game like that. You know what I'm saying? There's, Bear Alexander's out Oregon. There's guys that do it all over. But see, the thing is Indiana, you're not seeing that. Somehow they're motivating each other. Whatever's in the culture, whatever's going on there, they're motivating each other to do it. They're doing it all the time. They're studying their opponents down to a science, breaking them down to molecules. You hear me? They break they breaking their opponents down to molecules, and they do it well. And that's the same thing you see at about Ohio State. Yeah, Ohio State got a lot of talent, but talent, you could say it's going to win everything, but I mean, come on, man. Come on, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think if you can have the same amount of talent, but at some point right now, and this is about coaching. I think all these teams in the playoffs right now that are left, this is all about coaching. This is about scheming up your guys and putting you guys in the best position to win these games. And I strongly believe that because any one of these teams can go on to win a national championship. In my eyes, they've all shown it throughout the season that they can be at their best. But what teams have been more consistent? The most consistent team. The most consistent team has been Indiana, and you have to say that. Not only, I mean, 13-0 is one of the giveaways, but Ohio State has been really consistent. Georgia has been really consistent. Kirby Smart, everything that goes on at Georgia, that's crazy. These dudes be crashing Lambos and scat packs and Hellcats and all kinds of things down there, man. You know what I mean? They always backyard racing down the dirt roads down there in Georgia, somewhere on the back roads. And for some reason, when they come to playing football, they locked in. They know what to do. I mean, you could say a lot about that off the field stuff at Georgia, but the one thing that you can say is that these dudes don't show up to play football. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy to say that, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Do I agree with everything that go off the field? No, because I think that shouldn't happen. I think Georgia's too. I think Georgia's too much of a prestigious university to even put up with a lot of that stuff. But I guess winning heals everything. When they start losing, and if they don't win it all, then I guess that them conversations will come up. You know what I'm saying? Because that can be a distraction. But and this is just to talk about some of the other things. It's just to let people know it's just not a Colorado thing with me, but it's something that's going on, and it's something that needs to be spoke about, and it's something that people got to be willing to talk about, and to be okay with that, because that's the only way you grow, right? That's just what it is. You could take it as you want to take it. I don't feel no hate, no malice towards anything that's going on in Colorado. Have no agenda with that. My only agenda is to make sure that my people and people out there, that want to consume college football is I try to get them as much informed as I am about the sport, so that when you do go and visit someone else's channel, you know what I'm saying, you got more of an understanding. So, because it's just not, I just don't want you to consume me and only me. I don't want to keep you to myself. There's a lot of people out here that have great minds and really do a great job with reporting and informing you on the sport of college football. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's be very selfish to even think like that and to do things in that sort and in that matter. So no, I don't want that. You know what I mean? But just to move on, man, and everything else, and to try to end it on a good note, like they brought in some players who are willing to be coached and everything, and I think, and that could be a plus. But it's going to take time now. There's a rebuild going on. There's a rebuild there that's going on now, and it got it. And for rebuilds, it got to take time. So it's just like him getting there in year one now. Okay, just like them getting there at year one. A lot of people understand that. As long as we got that understanding, good. So now it's year one and year four. All right, can we get over that? But I'll bring it up as long as I keep seeing people trying to misinform y'all. I'm gonna keep bringing that up. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is, man. That's just what it is. Like I got to. I cannot not see y'all. I can't. It does something. You know what I'm saying? But there is a positive thing going on that, you know what I'm saying, we seen him making these changes. Do I agree with the change with the defensive coordinator and keeping the defensive coordinator? No, but I'm not there. You must have seen something different. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't, because I think the defense was a problem. I really honestly feel like that defense was bad. That the defense was like, it was really confusing on learning some of the things. It seemed like the players were confused with learning a lot of the schematics or the coverages and how to disguise them and whatever else was going on with that defense. And the tackling was horrible for most of the guys, you know what I'm saying, that I seen out of there. And I don't like seeing that. You know what I'm saying? So no, I didn't agree with that move. I thought that the entire coaching staff needed to be changed. If you ask me, you know what I'm saying? But hey, look, I'm not there. Now, do I know that this guy that's from Gwinnett County, from the Pittsburgh area, like, yeah, you from Gwinnett, you know what I'm saying? Not from the Berg. No, he's not from Pittsburgh. But Gwinnett County, they've known for playing ball out there. There's, you know what I'm saying? Gwinnett County, give it up. There's some real Gwinnett County guys out there. But, you know, I think Gwinnett County would want you to say you from Gwinnett County. You're one of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, not from Pittsburgh. You're not one from one of the zones. You're not zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 from Gwinnett County. Rep that. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with that. Because there's some Gwinnett County guys that I rock with. A lot of guys I met from Gwinnett County that's really good in football. They always were really good in ball. They are. They were, and they are. But yeah, like the go-go offense. He's going to bring an offense over there that I think that can, you know, fit what they trying to get going. You know what I mean? And then they got some of the receivers there that's going to help with that go-go offense. So I'm excited to see that go-go offense at Colorado with those receivers, especially since if they can retain some of those guys out there. That's why I was like, you know, Mario Miller leaving. Dang, you know what I'm saying? And then seeing Dre Long goes like, dang. Because the more receivers you got that got the ability to stretch the field, and that's all around receivers, the better that go-go offense is going to be. You know what I'm saying? And it is a pass first. You know, it's literally in his philosophy. I've seen, I've watched the videos philosophy. I've read through his philosophy. It actually is. But the run it is in there, and he will run the ball. You know what I'm saying? That is in there. You're going to have to respect it. So if you want to load the box on the run, you're going to get hit deep, and you're going to get, and it's going to be bombs over Baghdad. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to, then if you want to try to, you know, put a cover 2, cover 3, you know what I'm saying, or if you want to go quarters, you know what I'm saying, on the field, then we're going to run the ball on you. So it's going to be a tough, very tough offense to deal with once all the right guys get in position. And once the guys fully buy into that system, it's going to be a tough system to deal with. And I think that it bumps up, it's supposed to bump up a little level when you go into the power 4. So I can't wait to see the dynamic athletes that he can possibly get in this offense at a Colorado. You know what I'm saying? I don't think this is his last stop, because I think he's very innovative with this offense, with this go-go thing. You know what I'm saying? Um, and when you get those top athletes in that position, it's going to go crazy. It's going to look so crazy if you can get some top athletes running this offense. Better blockers, better quarterbacks, skilled players. It's going to look crazy. So yes, the offense is there. Like, now let's see what kind of guys they get going in there. And do I expect a lot of the guys out of the transfer portal to come and produce? You want them to. That's what you pay them for. But you also got to understand that there's going to be a learning curve for some of these guys. Some of these guys coming in are going to have to learn a lot from the transfer portal. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not from the transfer portal, but they're going to have to learn what's going on in the system, you know, learn all the little nuances of the offense. Get on page with your quarterback with the option routes. Know which way to break, left or right, when you see certain coverages. You know what I'm saying? When you see the linebacker sitting on the route, I'm going to break towards the sideline. Quarterback's going to have the ball there. That chemistry is priceless. You know what I'm saying? And it works a long way. It's going to go a long way. But you definitely got to get this offensive line eating. I will say that. And defensively, I mean, everything needs to be done. Everything from your 3 technique to getting out one down, being able to lock down the middle of the field and keep and stretch everything to the side, because speed is something that I think that Coach Prime always had on his team. So I would focus on trying to lock up the middle, lock up those gaps, lock up those A and B gaps, and try to keep everything to the outside to where you could chase guys down. You know what I mean? Try to bump it down. You know what I mean? Because I think that didn't work. They did that a lot last year, but I don't think that it worked a lot. So I think you gotta just reinforce the outside guys. You know what I'm saying? Get you some guys who can play, be a hybrid corner. You know what I mean? You gotta get those corners who could come up and want to put a hit on somebody. You know what I'm saying? Colton Hood style. Like he's a guy that like to come up. He'll play you in coverage, but he'll come and put a hit on you too. You need some of those guys. Um, but the inside, but try to keep it, try to keep the play. I didn't mean to say, clog up the middle and make it go outside. What I was saying was to try to keep the play inside, back into those stronger guys. You know what I'm saying? Keep let's do that, because I think they did decently at times last year with trying to clog up those gaps and then attack outside. But getting those guys, keeping those guys in between the tackles is where you really live at and where your strengths is at. So I think there's some things that got to be worked on, but I think it can be, and it can be worked on. Yes, it definitely most can be worked on. He's most definitely looks like he's trying to make the stride to correct some of those things. But do that. Am I wrong? But do that make me wrong? And do I stand on what I said? Absolutely, I said what I said, and I stand on what I stand on. Period. There's nothing going to change about that. I'm always going to be honest about it, and until there's things that change. Like there's that's not cool. That's not cool. That's not cool to see a lot of these guys. And that's not in the right positions and everything. But don't mislead people. All I gotta say is that y'all not gonna get that from me. You're not gonna get. I'm gonna try to be as close as the middle it is. If it sounds like I'm making one time, that's it. That's you only can feel how you feel. The things I say don't make you feel no kind of way. You take it how you want to take it, and you feel how you want to feel about what I say. You making yourself feel that way, not me. You understand what I'm saying? I'm only saying what I'm saying. You making yourself that feel that way, not I. Okay. Let's just keep it like that. But y'all know how I always end it, man. When I'm done on these, man, I always tell y'all, man, pray for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'm always praying for y'all, especially the ones that get down in the comments, man. No matter what we gotta say, how we talking, always, man. But like I ended, man.